Peace and blessings be with you. It's your servant, Akilanis. I'm about to test some crystals. So I want to see what their radiation blocking capabilities are. So I got a couple of pieces here. So I have a piece of Shungite, small piece. I have a larger piece of Shungite, black Tourmaline, Hematite, Selenite, pink Himalayan rock salt, and a piece of aluminum foil. Before I do the test, I have to say I am skeptical about the radiation blocking abilities of these different crystals. Even if the crystals are able to block EMF, RF, EF radiation, I think the practical use of it is going to be the problem. So it's small pieces that we have, and what it does, like these pieces, if they're able to block radiation, they're basically going to block radiation that comes to the piece. So like say, if I have this right here, any radiation coming here, it will block it, but it doesn't extend the field. So radiation that's over here and coming here, I don't think it's going to be able to block that radiation, if it's able to block radiation at all. So this is why I'm a bit skeptical about these crystals. I would love for them to work, but just the science of it, I'm like, I don't know. So there is something called a Faraday cage, and that's shown to work. And so let me just show like this. So if I have this, I'll make a box, right? So say this is a box. Don't mind use your imagination. But say this is a box with a cover on it. So it is shown, especially if you use aluminum foil, if you put an item in there like a cell phone and you close it off, it is shown that it will be able to block cell phone signals from reaching the phone. But if you leave a little area open, that's enough for signal to get in and for it to also transmit a signal. That's all it needs, a little space. So it has to be totally closed off, and if it's totally closed off, then I could say, okay, then it's going to work. But even if I just take a piece of foil that is shown to block RF signals and, like say, just put something on top of it, then it's no, even to put this on top of the item, then there is space underneath here, then radiation can leak out. So the whole thing about a Faraday cage is that the whole cage has to enclose the object and it has to be totally shut off. And in doing that, then it can block radiation. If I have a piece of rock, I need a rock that's so big, if radiation is coming towards me, that's going to cover my whole body, so anything coming towards me is going to block. But what happens is anything that's on the side or something behind me is not going to block. This is just what I think how it's going to work. So I'm going to go and test and see what I come up with. Okay, so I have my EMR reader in front of my Wi-Fi. Well, not my Wi-Fi, in front of the Wi-Fi router. And you can see it's giving off RF, EF, and EMF. So I have my first piece of Shungite. It's a smaller piece. Put it on top of the wireless router. And still giving off EF, EMF, and RF. All right, so I'm going to take it and put it in front of the reader, and it does nothing. Now I'm going to put it in between the wireless router and the reader, the EMF tester, and it does nothing. Still fluctuates, still get high RF, high EMF, and high EF. So I'm testing my second piece of Shungite. It's a larger piece. See if this makes any difference. So I'm going to put it on top of the router, and it does nothing. I'm going to put it in front of the reader, and it does nothing. And you see, I'm going to put it in between the reader and I don't want to put it too far away, so let me see. I'm still going to get this up. So right now, let me see. Here it goes. It's in between the reader and the wireless router. Oops. Sorry about that. And it still doesn't block it. Now I'm going to test my black tourmaline or tourmaline. Not sure of how you pronounce it, but it's black tourmaline or tourmaline. So I'm gonna place it on top of the router, and it doesn't do anything. Doesn't block the signals. Doesn't block the EMF or RF. Oops. I'm gonna put it in front. Doesn't block anything. Let me put it in between. One hand job, one man job. A little difficult, so just bear with me. Okay, black tourmaline seems to do something, a little bit, but it doesn't totally block it. Let me take this out. So I took it away, and I'll put it back. So it seems like it has some effect on has a lot of effect on the EF, and some effect on the EMF, and even the RF. But it doesn't block it. Okay, like Tourmaline. It does something, but it doesn't block all the radiation. Okay, now I'm going to test my Hematite. Put it on top. Nothing. In front. Nothing. Let's put it behind. Seems like it reduces it. The EF and the EMF is still high. It's going off, but it looked like it reduced it. And even the RF is still high, but it looks like it reduced it. Let me pull it away. Yep, and they do go up. So it does have some effect, but it doesn't block the radiation, but it reduces it. Okay, so now I'm going to test my Selenite. Here it goes. Put it on top. Nothing. Put it in front. Nothing. Let's see if I drop it behind here. And looks like it drops it some, but again, it doesn't block it. So you're still getting high levels of RF and EMF. Pull it away, and the EF goes up high, the RF still high, and the EMF is high. So it looks like this. Let me put it back here again. Has the most effect on the EF. Take it away. So there's some blockage there. It doesn't totally block it. Okay, so I'm going to test my pink Himalayan Salt Rock. This one's going to cause a little bit more problems because it's so large. I'm not going to be able to put it in between the reader and the wireless router and get like a really accurate reading, because remember, just by pulling the reader away a couple of inches from the router, the wireless router, it's going to immediately drop the EF and the EMF strength. So that in itself, just moving it away, is going to bring it down, and we're not going to know how much really it is the rock itself that is bringing down the EF and the EMF, the EF and the EMF. The RF is not as much of a problem because remember, that signal extends further away. So let me start up here, put up top. Doesn't do anything. In front, doesn't do anything. Still high, and it fluctuates. Know whether the rock is there or not. And I'm gonna have to move this out the way. So let's see here. So the rock, the pink Himalayan rock, is in front of the tester. And you can see it doesn't block the signals. It doesn't block the EF, EMF, or RF radiation. It does drop it some. Okay, so now I want to test what effect aluminum foil has. So I'll put the aluminum foil above, nothing. In front, still getting alarms. And let me put it in between. Oops. So it doesn't block it totally. It reduces it. And it reduces it to a point where I'm not getting an alarm. Just a little bit. I don't know, this seems to be the most effective, the way that it is right here. I'm not getting an alarm from putting the aluminum foil in between the tester and the wireless router. So it seems like the foil is the most effective. So I tested Shungite, and it was not effective in my test for blocking EF, EMF, or RF. It didn't seem to do a thing at all. Now, black tourmaline, selenite, hematite, and pink Himalayan rock salt did seem to be able to reduce EF, RF, and EMF radiation. They seem to be more effective against EF and EMF, which is the lower scale radiation. RF is the higher frequency radiation, though it was able to reduce the RF also. So they do have capabilities, or they are capable of affecting radiation or reducing it. My concern in the beginning was knowing the science about blocking radiation, that the small pieces are not large enough to stop if I have a small piece in front of me. So it seems like it does have ability to stop radiation that's directly hitting it, but the radiation that's around it, it doesn't put out a field that's going to block everything else coming around it. So though they do look to have some ability to block radiation, the practical use of it is that if I put this here and I have it on a chain, it can block what's right here, but it's not going to block everything in my body that's coming to my body. And I think we need to understand this when we're looking to buy these crystals or these rocks and thinking that it's going to block out all radiation. It doesn't work that way. Now, the aluminum foil was most effective. It was way more effective in blocking radiation, EF, EMF, and RF radiation than all the stones. I thought that's what was going to happen, but wasn't so sure. And I wasn't so sure about how effective it would be if I did not wrap the whole wireless router. So I just put the aluminum foil in front of it and covered enough space on the sides. And in the end, it basically brought down all the signals, all the RF, EMF, and EF readings to where I got no warnings, no LED warnings. So that means that it was all in the safe zone. So the aluminum foil works. It works best when you encase the whole object. That's going to defeat the purpose of using, like, say, a cell phone, because if I put a cell phone and wrap it in foil totally, then I won't be able to get signals and I can't make calls. So it's effective in blocking radiation, but then we have to look at it also. Are we going to block the radiation coming from the emitting device? And if we do that, then we're going to disrupt the signal. So I think the best thing to do is know that one, EF and EMF that all electrical devices produce they produce it strongest closer you are to the device. So keep devices away from you. Unplug anything that you don't need. So you're not using all the time, unplug it. This way you're going to reduce EF and EMF radiation in your place. That's going to do a lot. Your RF, which is your microwave, from your microwave oven and from what your cell phone produces and what your Wi-Fi produces, we just have to try to manage that as best as possible. Like what I did for my Wi-Fi router, I got rid of it. I realized I could live without it. So I just got a regular cable modem, no Wi-Fi. It's connected through a hard Ethernet cable, and that's good for me. I reduced a lot of that microwave signal that was coming into my place, that I was producing in my place. I eliminated it. And so with the cell phone, that's going to be hard. I'm dependent on it now. But what I found was, if you're going to use it, try to keep it as far away from you as possible, and use it on speakerphone. I can't believe that I'm promoting that, because I'm like, to me it's kind of annoying. And you should let somebody know when you have them on speakerphone. Respect their privacy. But having the phone away from you on speakerphone puts that signal or that radiation further away from you. So that helps to reduce it. Stay off. Only use the phone when you need to. Stay off the phone.